Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can you regulate or license morality? If you put a license out there, if you require that somebody get a license or a permission slip from the government to do a certain thing, does that person abide by the rules of the license automatically? Does it make you feel comfortable that the person who cuts your hair has a license? Does it make you feel comfortable that the people you drive on the road with have a license? Because there are a lot of accidents out there. Does licensing make things better? And when I say licensing, I mean you have to go to the government to get a permission slip to go hunting. You have to go to the government. You have to buy permission to do something you have a natural right to do, go fishing, and exponentiate that. You have to go to if you want to get married, you've got to go to the government and get a license certificate. You got to get a marriage certificate, permission, and the blessings of the state for your marriage. Here you go. This is hereby sanctioned by the government. Somehow this legislative magic pixie dust, everybody believes. Nobody believes Disney. Everybody understands that that's all fairy tale and magic and hocus pocus. But when it comes to government, all of a sudden, everybody takes that super seriously. So does licensing guarantee that the community is going to be safe from psychopaths who just want to do wrong anyway? That's the question right now, because New Jersey, as of January 1st, 2024, this year, New Jersey becomes the 47th state to require licenses for police. There's 3 other states. I'm not sure what they are right now, but there are 3 other states that do not require police to be licensed. Do you feel comfortable about that? Does that put you at ease? Are you like, thank God we got licensing now? Man, now the cops are going to straighten up and fly right. We're going to sure curb abuse now. Well, let me ask you, if the Constitution doesn't curb that abuse, and they easily trample that, if body cams and dash cams can't even curb that abuse, I mean, look at Daria Jalali and Austin Hopp abusing a 72-year-old dementia patient named Karen Garner in Loveland, Colorado, on camera. And then Sergeant Metzger pulls up. He's got a body camera too. Hey, is that your blood on you? No, it's not my blood. It's her blood. Broke her arm, threw her into her cage for a couple hours while we were outside making fun of how we abused a 72-year-old woman, and we were laughing about it. If the Constitution doesn't deter police criminality and body cams and dash cams rolling where they know that footage is going to go out in the World Wide Web someday, somehow, and yet it does not curb police criminality, then why would people take comfort in licensing? New Jersey enacts mandatory police licensing law. And this law was signed by Governor Murphy back in July of 2022. So it took a little over a year and a half for that law to become effective. I'm going to read a couple of these paragraphs, and I'm going to go to this article that's a little bit more interesting, because there are a couple quotes from, the Fraternal Order of Police and Governor Murphy and a couple of the attorneys that are close to this case. And it's pretty telling what people expect to happen with this licensing, but it's all just believing in a fairy tale, in my opinion. New Jersey has initiated a significant reform in law enforcement. It's significant. It's going to make an impact in your society, with the Law Enforcement of Police Licensure Act mandating all police officers in the state to hold active licenses from the Police Training Commission. Now, I assumed that if you're a cop, because I heard that you need like 6 months of training to become a cop, but you have to have like 2.5 years training to become a hairdresser. So I assumed when you had to have 6 months of training to be a cop, that involved some kind of certification or licensure. Apparently it didn't. Apparently I was wrong. Effective since January 1st, 2024, this act brings a new dimension to policing standards in New Jersey. A new dimension, but is that going to play out in our dimension, or is it something that you're going to tell us happened, but we don't see the positive effects from it? The act, signed into law by Governor Phil Murphy on July 2022 and going into effect this year, that's 2024, aims to ensure we're going to make sure this happens. We're going to make sure police officers maintain uniform professional standards. So now we're going to have professional thieves and liars and road pirates, Now, with the introduction of this law, we're going to have legalized, licensed professional thieves, liars, and pirates. In my opinion, that's all that's going to happen. All we're going to see is a slip of paper and no change in behavior. In my opinion, you tell me if you think otherwise. Do you think licensing cops, because keep in mind, this is going to be the 47th, New Jersey is going to be the 47th state to require police officers to be licensed. That means for whatever stretch of time, 46 other states have been licensed, but we still see massive police brutality and criminality and road piracy and just downright theft, just abuse of your fellow human beings. So if we haven't seen any difference in the other 46 states, we're going to see a difference in New Jersey. It's not a good idea to bet for this to pay off with any kind of long-term or even short-term benefits for the public, in my opinion. And receive ongoing best practices training. Receive ongoing best practices training. New Jersey joins over 40 other states in establishing a licensing system for law enforcement officers. And boy, are they proud of that. Let me show you this right here, because we're going to talk about some serious stuff right here. This says New Jersey becomes the 47th state to require professional licensing for police officers. Nothing comforts my heart more than knowing that we're going to have professional piracy now. You know what? When a cop invades your life and tramples over the Constitution so that they can suppress the Constitution and lift high what they believe is over the Constitution, and that's traffic law. When you see somebody's rights violated under the color of traffic law, the deprivation of rights under the color of traffic law, and you see them be nice about it, they nicely extract you from your vehicle. They gently put on the cuffs. They courteously walk you to the back of the cop car. And then people are like, well, that cop was sure nice. Man, you can't get more professional than that. How could anybody complain about the professionalism involved in that? It'd be like saying that carjacker was so freaking nice to me. The dude gave me a cup of coffee after he stole my 4 tires and left me stranded. I got nothing bad to say about it. It'd be like a thief breaking into your house at night and like, yeah, he took all my stuff and he ruined my life, but my God, he was nice. He was charismatic. He was nice. He was laughing at me. My defenses dropped. I served him breakfast, like Stockholm syndrome, but he was professional. Nobody says that about a thief and a carjacker. Nobody should say that about a road pirate. It's like, snap at it. Smell the smelling salts. Come on, get back on board with freedom. New Jersey became the 47th state in the country to require licenses for police officers as Governor Phil Murphy signed the initiative into law on Thursday. The police licensure program was initially proposed by Murphy alongside acting attorney general in May. All police officers in the state will have to hold an active, valid license from the Police Training Commission. The police are going to give themselves licenses. The members of the Police Training Commission are going to give their buddies at the police department licenses so that they can be certified. Does that make you happy? Does it really make you drop your guard? In order to remain employed as police in New Jersey, this is basically placating to the public, and I will show you exactly why, and they reveal it in their words. The PTC, or Police Training Commission, voted unanimously to institute a police licensing program in 2020, acknowledging that more than 40 states throughout the country have a similar set of uniform standards for all police officers. The program is meant to enhance public trust of police. So the legislators, it looks like, and the attorneys and the cops got together and said, hey, you know what, guys? The public doesn't trust you. And with good reason. You abuse the public. You steal from the public. You enact civil asset forfeiture laws. And in the name of stopping the Mexican drug cartels, you destroy the lives of fellow Americans. So obviously, public trust has been eroded. But we got an idea. What's that idea? We are going to require us to be licensed. And this is going to calm the fears of the public, cause them to relax, because now the public is going to believe that we actually operate on some moral code of ethics standard to ensure that we don't continue to do wrong to our fellow Americans. And the person who's halfway thinking about this and has the ability to remove themselves from any kind of vestiges of cognitive dissonance and apply just a little bit of critical thinking will realize that this is a ruse. That's all it is. That's all these kind of things ever are. Because nothing could be more laughable than the police giving themselves a license so that they could curb any kind of apprehensions or fears or distrust the public might have toward the organization that they're given a license to. It says, while monitoring and revoking the license of any officer engaged in improper conduct. So the person who's critically thinking is going to go, wait a second. Why would licenses help when the Bill of Rights hasn't? If the Fourth Amendment isn't powerful enough to keep them from intruding on my person, property, and effects, and they make me insecure wherever I go, then how is licensing going to help one iota? The answer, the rational, logical answer is it is not. It hasn't for the other 46 states. It's not going to help for this additional state. And if body cams and dash cams and constitutions don't help keep them in line, and they took an oath of office, by the way, to protect, defend, and uphold the Constitution of the United States, which means your rights, and their profession is to demolish your rights, then licensing ain't going to do squat. You got your head in the sand or in the clouds or somewhere, but it's not thinking about this issue clearly. Murphy said, this is the governor. This police licensing program will formally and finally recognize all who serve in law enforcement in our state as the specially trained and highly skilled professionals they are. Officers holding these licenses will be proven professionals. It's like, do you have your license? Let's see. Yep, I got my license card right here. I'm a proven professional. I went through the cop training program and they gave me a certification. My buddies gave me a certification. I gave myself a certification, okay, if you really want to get down to it. I'm a proven professional. I got my certification right here. It's that easy. Proven professionals who fulfill their duties with honesty and integrity. Oh, you know something else that doesn't keep bad cops from the public? The Brady list. There are cops who are, tons of cops who are on the Brady list. Brian, what is the Brady list? The Brady or the Giglio list? The Brady or Giglio list is a list of law enforcement officers that cannot be trusted. They've got credibility issues. They were dishonest on reports. They lied to the public on body cam. They got caught. It got documented. They got on the Brady list. But even being on the Brady list doesn't make the leaders in the police department say, we can't have this person protecting and serving the public because it's detrimental to the interests of the public. So if the Brady list isn't going to stop cops from being bad, and the Constitution ain't going to stop, and the oath that they took the Constitution isn't going to stop cops from being bad, and body cams and dash cams, I mean, the whole world's watching them, isn't going to stop them from being bad cops, then licensing isn't going to make these specially trained, highly skilled professionals act according to any kind of moral code, in my opinion. Helping law enforcement, listen to this. Murphy says, helping law enforcement strengthen and rebuild the bonds of trust between the police and residents in the communities they serve. And then it says, get ready to cringe, especially in our Black and brown communities. Can you imagine if he said, especially in our white and Asian communities? God. These people are so unaware. Or maybe they're aware and they just intentionally do this. Licensing is going to help law enforcement strengthen and rebuild the bonds of trust between police and the people they continually abuse and steal from and kill. But licensing is going to solve all that. The PTC will implement the licensing program, monitoring officers to ensure everyone with an active license is acting in accordance with the set of standards. You're not doing it now. You're not going to do it then. It's not being done in states who've had licenses for a long time, and it's not going to be done with states who just now got a licensing program. And if you think it's going to be, I got to tell you, you're lying to yourself. They are not here to serve your interests. They're here to serve federal, state, and local corporations, and that's it. They're there to increase the power in the state, the power of the state and the coffers of the state. They are there to take away your rights and transfer that power to the state. They're there to economically terrorize you and transfer that wealth to the state, but they are not here for you. Does that mean that police officers don't sometimes do good things? Never said that. And I've always said even the SS, even the Gestapo did good things for the people that they loved while they went out and the rest of the time did Hitler's bidding. So nobody's sitting here saying that the Gestapo never does anything good. But you know as well as I know that you would be against the Gestapo if you knew that they were carrying out Hitler's edicts. Same thing with corporate employees called police officers or LEOs or law enforcement officers, because they're there to enforce the law. And if that law supersedes the Constitution, you better believe that unjust, immoral, unrighteous law is the one that they're going to enforce on you. And that is unjust. So if the Constitution couldn't stop it, body cams don't stop it, the Brady list doesn't stop it, then licensure isn't going to stop it. If you think it is, then please let me know. It'd be interesting to see if there's less abuse going on in the 3 remaining states that don't have licensing, as opposed to the, a couple of the states that do and have had licensing. But for anybody to wait for something positive and moral and righteous to come from this licensing program, I don't even know what to tell you. It's just a crazy thought. Each officer, including new recruits and those seeking to keep their positions, must apply for a license and renew it every 3 years. And, usually license costs you money. It's not going to cost the cops money. They don't have to pay for it, but you will. So another reason I think they're bringing this licensing online is, number one, to hoodwink the masses into thinking that they're actually trying to rebuild the bonds of trust between cops and the public. And number two, it is another money-making racket where they can increase the budget and go, oh, we got to pay for all these licenses now. And I think there's like 40,500 cops in New Jersey. So roughly 41,000 cops. How much is the license going to cost? Because if it's $1, that's $41,000. If it's $10, that's $410,000. If it's $100, just take it from there. What if it's $500? How many millions are we talking about putting into the state coffers for this licensure program? Because the cops ain't paying for it out of their own pockets. No, the state's going to cover that. And by state, I mean You're going to pay. Oh, another thing we get to pay for, because the cops can't get their act together and they've broken trust and they've torn down the bridges between themselves and the public with their stupid thin blue line nonsense. And now they're expecting me to pay to rebuild the roads, which won't be rebuilt. Are you serious? You really think we buy that? Most people probably will. The application process will include a physical evaluation, maintaining ongoing post-academy training, and not engaging in illegal or improper conduct. The application process will include not engaging in illegal or improper conduct. Shouldn't that kind of go? Do you even have to say that? Are you kidding? What are you trying to get me to not see here? You've got to be kidding me. This includes not making improper social media posts or being an active member of a group that advocates for a violent overthrow of the government, or that discriminates based on classes protected by law against discrimination, the law against discrimination. Governor, I'm just going to read this. And today I signed legislation to establish a new professional license for law enforcement officers, which all officers must carry as a condition of their service. This program will help rebuild the bonds of trust and transparency between police and residents. Why don't you leave that up to the residents to decide if that's what will happen? Why don't we talk to residents from other states to see if that's what has happened? Hey, Barney, you live in Alabama, don't you? Or California or wherever? Yeah, I live in Alabama. Hey, have cops backed off on abusing you guys and trampling your rights and stealing your stuff under civil asset forfeiture law since they became licensed? No, can't say as they have. As a matter of fact, it seems like it's gotten a little bit worse. So it's all nonsense. And just one piece of evidence that I will give you is every single, this another thing about this thing right here. It says that the Fraternal Order of Police signed on to it. Yeah, here we go. Look at this. Here it is. The new law has received support from both the New Jersey Fraternal Order of Police and the State Troopers Fraternal Association. So if they're on board with it, then it must be something that is absolutely good for them and not good for the public. Because when there's a proposed law that curtails, say, funding that they might get, they're all up in arms about it, and they'll come up with some euphemistic nonsense on why they shouldn't have their rights limited for civil asset forfeiture, for example. That's what this, and if you want details on this, I'm going to put 2 links in the chat room for you. And once this video gets done rendering, I'll put this in the description and maybe in the pinned comment. Although when I put stuff in the pinned comment, it tends to disappear. So there's a link right here detailing this letter to the National Sheriff's Association talking about HR 1525. And there's the other video right there. I'll put these 2 videos, like I said, in the description, if not in the description of the pinned comment. But if cops are not on board with something, they will put in writing that they are not on board with it, and they will come up with some justification on why they need to continue stealing more of Americans' wealth to save them from the Mexican drug cartels. And that was with HR 1525, which would severely limit cops' ability to seize assets under the civil asset forfeiture nonsense. And according to Sheriff Jim Skinner, who is the representative for the National Sheriff's Association, all 3,086 sheriffs in almost every county, there's 3,144 counties in America. Some of them don't have sheriffs, people are telling me, but this is virtually every county in every state in the United States. All sheriffs signed this letter, this 3-page letter saying, do not limit our ability to utilize civil asset forfeiture. That means do not limit our ability to conduct massive roadside piracy operations and landside piracy operation and seaside piracy operations on every American anytime we want to, in the name of stopping the war on drugs and stopping the Mexican drug cartels. They're not in your corner, and licensing doesn't help. And so when the Fraternal Order of Police and the New Jersey State Troopers Fraternal Association is on board with something, then you got to kind of stop and go, if they're for it, then I should probably be against it because they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes. And that's how I see this new law, enacting licensing for police officers. If you disagree, let me know. If you think I'm off base about something, I want to know about it. But from historical precedent, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. Licensing doesn't help because the Constitution didn't. Body cams and dash cams didn't. And the Brady Law didn't and isn't and won't. Because the problem is systemic. The problem is in the human heart. The problem is when somebody gets the ring of power, they want the ring of power and they want to exercise that power over you. So Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, the links are in the description. Grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, fight for your rights. Understand what's going on. Add to your knowledge bank. When you become more knowledgeable, you become more powerful. Know what your rights are. Stand for your rights. Exercise your rights every chance you get, because if you don't exercise your rights, they're like a muscle. You will lose your rights. I will see you in the next video.